Welcome back to Sis's channel. So today we're going to talk about what kind of things you should prepare before you visit China. As a Chinese who guided multiple international friends travel to China, I think I'm qualified to talk about this topic. Before I start it, please comment below, let me know what do you think about travel to China. In this video, we will cover visa and entry requirements, money and payments, internet and VPN, transportation and navigation, and some culture tips. The last one is very important because I guess only the native gonna tell you that. It's me. Do you need a visa? Most travelers they need a travel visa before arrival. But you might heard about visa-free policy. Check if you qualify for 144 or 72 hours visa-free policy. Of course, they have some mandatory requirements. First of that, you have to have the confirmed on-world tickets. For example, if you travel from USA, you have to show them the USA tickets, China, Beijing tickets, and then the most important is you have to show them when you're gonna leave China, which is the leaving tickets. Secondly, you must enter China with some specific ports. These are some details. Thirdly, your passport have to at least have 6 months available. Can you remind this kind of visa, they have a very important restrictions. Travel area limited. You only can stay in the province you are entered. For example, if entering via Shanghai, you only can stay in Shanghai. You cannot go into any other cities. Second restriction is no extension. It's gonna cause more visa problems. And China is very, very strict to the visa and everything else. So you have to be very careful about that. After you check all of the stuff, you might still worry about how can I make 100% sure if I can get into China while I'm arriving? So here's some 3 ways you can make sure about it. First of that, contact your airline. Ask them, make sure you can get into China. Secondly, call this number, which is China Immigration Hotline. The good news is that is English available, so don't worry about that. Third way is email the airport you want to get in. For example, if you want to get in Shanghai, you have to send the email, tell your situation, make sure everything. If you guys travel to China before, use a visa-free or transit visa before, can you guys comment below, tell us what's the situation about it? Because last year, one of my Germany friends, he came here, used their transit visa, which is super smooth. The only thing is not smooth is like nobody can speak English when she come in, so it's kind of confusing. But at that time, he called me and I translate for him, so everything is like sold out. Everything figured out. So that is all about the first part, transit visa, which we call visa-free. So if your country is not at the list or you want to travel longer, what I suggest is going to apply a tourist visa. I suggest you guys apply the visa before you come to China 1 or 2 months. For example, you're going to come to China on October, so you have to try to figure out the visa things right now from today on. I asked a few of my international friends about how long they're gonna took by they get the visa. So one friend from USA, she told me she got that from 1 week. And another friend from UK, she told me she got the visa by 2 weeks. My suggestion is always remain enough time, about like 1 month to 2 months. It's very safe. When I do live stream talk about China payments, everybody is shocked because I keep telling people in China right now, we don't use cash and credit card, we only use the digital payments. They don't believe it. I would say 80% of their digital payments and 10% of the credit card, which is by some big hotels, you still can using that. And another 10% maybe it's like by cash. 2 application for digital pay. First of that is WeChat. This application is kind of combine PayPal, WhatsApp, Instagram, and everything together. Some of the friends think this one is kind of hard to use it. So if you don't know how to use it, you can go check some videos about it. My suggestion is going to download another one which called Alipay. This one is most of the foreigner friends told me they're very convenient to use. If you still don't know how to download it or you don't know how to use it, I have a guide video for you guys. Of course, in case your phone gonna die, you have to prepare some cash. So it's all depend on how long you're gonna stay in China. My suggestion is maybe you only have to prepare like 500 RMB. Part 3, internet and VPN. Everybody knows China have a firewall and it's very strong. So if you come to China, it's so hard for you to check any non-Chinese platform. For example, you cannot check the TikTok, you cannot check the WhatsApp, you cannot check the Instagram, none. So that is very important to figure out how can you use the data in China. I will separate that to two different ways, and I will tell you what's the advantage and disadvantage about it. First way is buy a Chinese SIM card and with a VPN. Combine it together and you can go into any application. You just need to show your passport while you arrive at the airport to get a Chinese SIM card. Yes, I know that is very weird because when I was in UK or USA, I can buy any SIM card in the market. But in China, everything you bought or everything you want to register, you have to, show your passport or show your ID card. And after that, you have to buy a VPN. These are some VPN suggestions. So the advantage of this way is you can order a delivery and you can order Uber, you can contact any of your friends by the Chinese phone number. Second way is much more easy. You just need to buy an eSIM card. So you can use the data, but that's only for the data. You cannot call anybody when you get into the China. If you want to try the eSIM card, you can try these two brands. These two are my international friends recommended. Which one you should choose is all depend on your situation. My suggestion is if you only come to China for transit or you only come to China within 10 days, you can get an eSIM card. That would be much more easy for you. But if you want to travel to China long time or you want to come back to China very often, it's more convenient for you to get a Chinese SIM card with the VPN. So comment below if you have more recommend eSIM card. And remind, some of the phone you cannot buy any eSIM card packages. So before you buy any eSIM card, check if your phone is able to do that. This is a link below to check it. Part 4, transportation and navigations. You know that Uber and Google Maps in China doesn't work really good, so you have to download some Chinese application. If you want to call Uber, you have to download the application called DiDi, which is the Chinese Uber. Remember to download the English version. For navigation, you better to download a map. If you want to book any train tickets, you can go into these two websites. Last but not least, some culture things I have to remind you guys. Maybe you heard about that, and if you talk about some shit about the government, you're gonna go into the jail. Actually, it's very strict, but it's not like that, guys. When you see that kind of comments, think about it. But the thing is, do not talk about any policy things or Taiwan things or any other history or government things. That's the best choice. Because in China, most of the situation, we choose to avoid that kind of topic. And secondly, do not try to tip any restaurant stuff. I know in most of the Western countries, if you gave the waitress tips, that means you are really appreciated or they're gonna think you're very weird. So no tips in China. Thirdly, in China, you cannot drink the tap water, so you have to buy water everywhere. And obviously in China, it's very convenient. No matter where you live, you can find some small shops or a market, so you can purchase some. Last but not least, here's some important numbers. You might need them, so I put it here. Of course, if you don't know any Chinese, it's going to be a little bit struggle if you travel to China alone. So the best way is download Google Translate. That will make your travel much more easier. So make sure you're fully prepared before you come to China. I mean, China is an amazing country to visit, but if you haven't prepared very well, China will punish you. So, in conclusion, if you think this video is very helpful, please do like it, comment, and subscribe. If you've been to China before, please comment below. Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe. That's it. See you next time. Bye.